Hello, morning. I'd like to do those videos again this close the end of the year. This is my second video for this part. Hopefully, I will work a bit better. 2018 further mathematics revisions. So congratulations first. We have um, finished the whole further course this year, and you should be finished all the assessment tasks by now. And what I like to do today, basically trying to give you an overview of the exam paper first, and then give you some suggestions about how would you like to do your notebook. So let's see, in 2017 exam, if you look at the exam paper, there's always two exams, the examination one and examination two. In examination one, we have 40 multiple choice questions, and in examination two, you will have a few short answer questions for you to complete. No matter which exam you're looking at, they would have two sections. One section would be the core study, the other is the elective modules. The elective modules, in total, we have four of them, but you only need to take two out of four. So no matter there is a multiple choice question or short answer questions, you are always going to look at the module 1 and module 4, which is related to a graph and relations and matrix. We've been looking at those two topics over the years. And so let's try to look at our core study. In core study, as I said, there would be 40 multiple choice, and there is 24 multiple choice that related to the course study, and you have 16 multiple choice related to module selection, like the elective modules. In those 24 questions, roughly, you see 16 questions related to our statistics. And we have another 8 questions. Separate them into two parts. Four of them is about the recurrence that we've been looking at. Say if you have 1, 3, 5, and the next one would be 7. There's the recurrence patterns that we studied before. Then the last part, there would be our another 4 questions for the financial mess, all about interests, reducing balance alone. Um, 24 multiple choice. Then the elective modules, we have another two parts, 8 multiple choice questions each. The first one, I think that should be the matrix in the exam. The second one is our graph and relations. So if you look at the whole exam, it allows you to have an hour and half to finish 40 multiple choice. That's more than 2 minutes per questions, I reckon. Yeah. Then yeah, you have plenty of time. Try to take your time to read the questions. Some of them are extremely straightforward. Just circle the answer you think that you would be. Yes. Then if you're looking at examination two, so all this that we've done there is our exam one. And we have exam two, pretty much the same situations. For examination two, let me see, is about 24 marks. Yep, there's 24 marks that related to statistics. Then we have 12 marks related to financials and recurrence. Okay, let me try that. Wait. So in the examination two, also with two parts. you have our core study, and we have our two modules. And in terms of the core study, we have statistics, and we also have the non-statistic part. In statistics, there would be 24 marks altogether, vary between how many questions? About four, about 3 to 4 questions. And then we have a non-stat statistics parts. There will be close to 1 to 2 questions for the recurrence. And the other one would be the financial math. And each one of them is about 6 marks each. So altogether, we're about 36. And then you will have two modules. The two modules, the first one, select the module one. There would be matrices. Matrices we've done a few topics. It's about 12 marks in there. And the last one is the graph and relations. You have another 12 marks. So add up all together, there would be how many of them? 24 plus 6, 36, 36 plus 24, 60 marks. And out of those 60 marks, you have an hour and a half too. So examination two, that would be require you do it much faster than the multiple choice. Yeah, give you the overview of what happened in the examination one and examination two. And let's give you a suggestions of what we do for the rest of our year. For the rest of our year, we try to do prepare a notebook. And for the notebook, I like you to divide it into 3 parts. For part one, there would be our core study. For each part, I'll give you an overall notebook. Then once you receive the notebook that I gave you, yeah, you can start prepare, add something into it, and try to yeah, prepare your own. The second part I like to do is graph and the relations, and part three, there will be our matrices. I put the matrix at the end as we done it most of the time in term two, at the end of term two, and you're fresh in mind. And I like you to do some revisions, yeah, way back for term one and term two. Now, yeah, how do we make those notebook? In terms of a course study, and you need to realize that we all have our test book, and in your test book your core study is from chapter 1 to chapter 5, or chapter 1 to chapter 4, and chapter 5 itself, chapter 6 and 7. Why do I say that? Because in chapter 1 and 4, that is the statistic that will relate to the course. Ah, can't spell statistics today. So annoying. Statistics. And chapter 5, that would be related to the recurrence. And the last one would be the financial mess, the one that we hate the most. For statistics, from 1 to 4 chapters, there would be related to, first is the univariate data. When we look at in univariate data analysis, which is in your chapter 1, in your chapter 1 you look at different graph, you look at mold, you look at yeah, box plots and various yeah, stem and leaf plots and stuff like that. So when you do your revision, try to understand the terms to begin with. Then, if you look at chapter 2 to 4, I generally call them a bivariate analysis. When it's a bivariate analysis, more than one set. Yeah, and we need to look at the correlations between the two set of data that you have. Then, when you look at about our recurrence is in your chapter 5, say we have 1 and 7 and 13, and every single one you know there's a plus 6, and you know the next one of it. To looking at these patterns, we know that we can use an equation to represent that, and the recurrence mainly is trying to yeah, get the equation done for those patterns. So recurrence right there. For financial math, chapter 6 and 7. And yeah, in financial math, you will expect to see interest. You expect to see our loans, and you expect to see some investments. Then, what do we have next? After the course study, hopefully in total, your notebook, that one is about 20 pages, and there's about another 5 page, and that's another 5 page. So you will have at least about 30 to 40 pages for your core study in your notebook. I prepare like more than 25 for you. So you would just add on another 15. Then you should have enough information. You grab your notebook and try to practice on the practice exam. After core study, there would be matrix, matrices, and your graph relations. In terms of matrices, you try to put the notes about 3 parts. You have our basic operations for matrices, and looking at what is inverse, and related your inverse with the linear equations. The last part in transition, that would be our transition matrices. Graph. When we look at graph and relations, there's a two type of graph that we look at. One is the linear graphs, which is a straight line, y is equals to mx plus c, or in the calculator equals to a is equals to, is it bx plus c? I can't remember. Y is equals to, yeah, can't remember. I remember now. In the calculator, it is y plus bx, which is b equals to x, a equals to c. The next one is a nonlinear graph. There's a nonlinear graph that could be like a step graph, a segment step graph, or simply you may have a curve, or like whatever graph it look like. This basically asking you how to read the graph when they give you a non-graph, nonlinear patterns, non-linear patterns. The last one is our inequality. X bigger than 0, y smaller or equals to 1. And you will highlight the particular regions for and find the maximum point or the minimum point out of it. So overall, you were looking at about 20 page each. Should be more than enough. So 20 page, 35, 30, 50, 60. Altogether, we're looking at 70 to 80 pages for your notebook. Hopefully, you will have your notebook ready by the end of term 3. Then we will just use it to practice exam questions. Okay, I'll give you overview of it, and I feel like this is a better one than the first one. Yeah, hope you find it useful. And if you need more, um, yeah, information, ask me in the class. Okay, thank you. See you.